In the makeup area at this time, we need our 7-year-olds, those contestants born in 2016. 7-year-olds to the makeup area now, please. Final call for 7-year-olds in the novice showmanship to be in the makeup area. Final call to be in the makeup area for 7-year-olds in the novice showmanship.
All right, welcome and good morning and welcome back for day 2 here of your sheep show. We said it a lot of times yesterday, Nate and myself. It was really fun. It was very enjoyable, not only working through your showmanship, but then getting in the youth show, working with a good buddy of mine. I really like this novice deal, and I think you guys in Ohio are maybe one of the 2 states that do this. And I remember a couple years ago, I was in Ohio at a jackpot show, and they said, hey, we got novice showmanship coming at you, and I was expecting 4 or 5 of them. It was going to be kind of an easy walk through the park, and then they dropped in 40 of them that could beat the senior showmanship. And so again, I really like this. I like what it's about, and it's going to be a fun little morning here working through them. We have a good group all the way down the line. Again, like I did yesterday, I'll talk to each and every one of them, give them a thing or two here to work on. Unfortunately for them, there are 3 absolute screamers over here on the fence line, and I think all 3 of these young ladies, if we dropped them into maybe 2, 3, 4 of the divisions I sorted yesterday, even up into the 18, 16-year-old kids, I think they can compete. And I'm not just saying it to tell you that here this morning. If you look for their age, I don't know how old are you guys? 8? 7, 8, somewhere around there, I don't know. But they're very, very good at what they do. All of them, you can tell, have had a partnership and a good friendship there with their sheep. They get out and they go, and I don't care if they're on a halter or loose right now. I really don't care. That's not much of an issue for me. But they get out, they go, they travel with the sheep. Their eye contact's good, but yet they still get the job done when they're on the front end of these things. And that is very crucial for myself. I like eye contact. It's important, but at times we maybe look too much at the judge and we don't give ourselves enough space. And I think that's a thing here we could all work on in this group. Give yourself enough room, because again, if you're around sheep, they are not smart. They have their days and they want to jump, they want to launch on you here. So give yourself just a little bit of space right there between them so you have some room to navigate. These 3 all move around the front end tremendous, and there's little differences there between feet and leg placement. The way they hold the front end, a few of them do things different with the top line as well. So there's a lot of things that go through my mind of who needs to be your class winner and your champion here. What I'll do here is we're going to put the mic down. I'm going to go through and I'll shake their hands 1, 2, and 3 here amongst this class winners, and I will tell those 3 a thing or two that they can maybe work on here as they go forward. Like I said, not just churching it up for you. I think these 3 are exceptional and they can compete anywhere you go here. If you guys would, you were good yesterday. Please give them a nice round of applause here. We'll get you a champion, reserve, and third here in this division.
Results from our 8-year-old showmanship class. First place, congratulations, goes to Morgan Lawson. Second place, Hayden Turner. Third place, Emma Mulliken. 4, Cade McCowan. And 5th to Cheyenne Royce. Others in that class, Charles C. Parker, James Cash Jackson, Zeta Kirkpatrick, Graham King, Danilyn Kane, and Holly Jones. Now entering the ring is our 7-year-old class. To the makeup ring with 6-year-olds, please. Our 6-year-old class of showmanship participants should be making their way to the makeup ring at the south end of the show ring. Those are contestants born in the year 2017. Final call for 6-year-olds to be in the makeup area. Showmanship, novice showmanship for 6-year-olds. Those born in 2017 should be in the makeup area now. Final call.
Let's move into our second grouping of them here around ringside, if you would. Give them a nice round of applause, a good hand here. This is another very good group all the way down the line. And again, I think these three suit me very well as far as their style goes. And again, I try to be as positive as I can when I take the microphone. Hopefully you realized that yesterday. But again, I didn't say it the first class. I got a big rule of thumb when it comes to showmanship, and it was taught to me first day when I started showing. If you're going to come in showmanship, please get up here and watch a class before you guys go into the ring, because it'll make everything smoother for you and your sheep as well. And that way we all get a flow of how the ring needs to go. And that's just one thing for myself. And I know in the pig industry, when they're pinning pigs back, it certainly makes things just a little bit easier. So if you're standing right there on the rail, make sure you look in here and see that we're putting them on the butt view here. Then we're walking them around on the profile. It just makes everything smoother for you and your partner here when you get into the ring. These three, again, I think suit me well. We talked here. The young lady with the white U that lands here in 4, I thought her eye contact when she moved around the ring was as good as any of them. You really stared me down almost to a bit too much, as I talked in the first group, where we maybe didn't leave ourselves enough space here as we got here to the profile, and maybe could have got off that fence line just a little bit more. I thought your feet and leg placement, your eye contact and motion, again, was as good as any of them. Same with you, young lady. Your brace that you get on in 5 here, when we had you up here in the front, you got a good hard brace, a good hard pull into that sheep, got her stretched and running uphill into you. Amongst these 5, feet and legs were always shuffled, just a little bit too much for me, and then we maybe got her a little overstretched here the longer we went. Again, I talked to these showmen here along the lines. As we said many times yesterday, you guys have plenty of time here to keep going and showing here in your life. It was good experience getting out here in the ring, and hopefully I told you 1 or 2 things you can work on here as you come back for next year. As we stated, these three are very, very good, very different in what they do, and I won't argue with you like we said many times yesterday. If you like a different showman, hopefully it's one of your family members, and if I beat them, I get it. You're not going to be just the happiest, but all three, hopefully you can recognize, do things really, really well. That young lady up front there with kind of the whiter featured weather, that is a big sheep and a little lady, and she does an excellent job getting him put together. I thought her eye contact, and when she stops and gets that thing put together, is as good as any of them, and yet still, she gets out and she goes. She knows where I'm at. She shows me the different views. Young lady, the longer we're out here right now, we're maybe letting that neck float just a little far towards you. I think you can almost bring it back just a little bit there, and your sheep will level out in his top line. But you're in the mix here to be your class winner, because I love the consistency of the views you give me. You just do a whale of a job here. Buddy in the middle here does a great job as well. Very calm, very cool and collected here in the way he gets the job done. I think of the three, buddy, you do as good of a job keeping the top line in check of your sheep. You got a good eye contact. You get out and go here. Of the three, feet and legs were maybe always just a little bit shuffled. And then, as we talked about, maybe let that neck float a little far towards you, and you get out of that brace just a little too much for me. I think we could just put our leg back in and get just a little more push, a little bit more brace out of that sheep. Young lady, you're the one that's giving me just a little fits here, because I think you are really, really good. And you got a good eye contact. You get a good hard brace, a good hard pull in that sheep. And I really, really like the way you position yourself on the front end. You put the head on the shoulders. You get it where it needs to be. You got a little too pulley for me out of the front end. And my big thing is push, not pull. When you talk to the front end of those sheep, use your legs a little bit more than screaming and just kind of grabbing his neck and pulling him towards you. And when you did that and you pulled a little hard on his front end, he'd move those front feet. He'd drop in his front end. I thought we maybe could have just got him up into you just a little bit more. But again, I think you're an excellent showman. I really like the way you position yourself up front. Wish we could have maybe been a little lighter on the head there as we pulled and popped them. So these three are really, really good for myself. One of them to me, again, I think showmanship's a consistency game. The views the whole way through from the time they put in the ring to the time they leave. And for me, one of them is just super consistent in every view I got. Little young lady up front there with the whiter featured weather is going to be my class winner. Young lady with the blue second. Young guy right here is third. Congratulations to him.
Results from our 7-year-old class of novice showmen. First place and congratulations to Jesselyn Conrad. Second place, Loxley McIntosh. Third, Everett Spears. 4, Sadie Gravitt. 5, Alexa Becraft. Others in that class included Lavender Hahn, Callahan Tate, Ronan Allen, Sophia Clark, Aaron Smallwood, Heartland Smith, Nellie Parker, and Jacob Jackson. Now in the ring, we have our 6-year-old class. These are contestants born in the year 2017. In the makeup area, we'd like to have our 5-year-olds to report. Those are contestants born in the year 2018. 5-year-olds to the makeup area, please. Again, we will not be showing an overall novice showman. There will not be an overall champion novice showman. However, whenever we get to the novice market lambs, we will show for an overall champion and reserve champion novice market lamb. We need the following 4 individuals to come up and see Molly or Lois here at the show ring desk. Cheyenne Royce, Aaron Smallwood, Oakley Johnson Mullins, and Ronan Allen.
Well, our smallest age group here so far, I think our 6-year-olds, if I'm correct here. And I'm a little bummed that we don't do an overall drive because I think your class winner here in this particular group can scream meet them all. In my opinion, fits in the mix as good as any showman we've had hit the ring here in the last 2 days for myself. Again, all the way down the line, I talked to these showmen, just a thing or two to work on. That little young lady that lands there in 4, she has a stubborn sheep, and she worked with them. She stuck with it. I like showmen that, again, sheep aren't very smart. They have their days, and they don't want to stand still sometimes, but she didn't give up. She still got back to work, got a good brace. She works the top line well. I told her we could be just a little lighter there on his head. The longer we go, when you really start getting worked up and pulling on his head there, he'll start shifting on you just a little bit. Again, I talked to the rest of them. These two, I thought, hit me really hard when they first came in the ring. And again, subtle differences amongst their showmanship style. The little young man there up front in the green just always has that sheep put together in a nice fashion. Maybe not as flashy as the young lady there in the back. But big thing here for you, buddy. When I come around that front view, I need you to show me that view and show me that front view and move around the front end. That's where the little young lady has an advantage there over you. But again, I like your eye contact here from the profile. You always had that sheep put together in a nice fashion. Got to show me a few more views there in an area or two. Young lady, you are really good. You are a hammer here, and I think you do an excellent job. The way you position yourself up front, the way you work the top line, the feet and the legs, you showed me every view I needed there. Again, I think you're very, very good, and each and every one of you is an excellent showman and a capable showman with a bright future. But I would be very scared if in the state of Kentucky to chase this little young lady here in the next few years. To me, she wins very good, and she is excellent. And she's going to be your class winner. Young man's going to be second. Congratulations to them.
Results from the showmanship class for 6-year-olds. First place, congratulations to Callie Florence. Second place, Clark Caldwell. Third, Antonio Geyer. Fourth place, Oakley Johnson Mullins. Fifth place, Case Fleming. And sixth to Lucy Davis. Now have in the ring our 5-year-old class. These are young people born in the year 2018.
Well, great way to bring us to the end here of your novice showmanship, our youngest group. And if you're around ringside, hopefully you could tell, out of all of our groups so far, I think 5 classes this morning, first group that we've had actually get out and we can go. Each and every one of them can get out and travel. And again, I know they're on halters, but that does not matter to me one bit. I commend the work, and I think these young 4 people need a nice round of applause here. They got out and moved as good as any group we've had so far here today. Again, I think all 4 of them are very, very nice, and I really, really don't like having to place kids of this age because, again, I think they're all very, very good, and I know the work, and I know some of us are going to be upset just a little bit here when they leave. Just to highlight it and talk about them, little young man here has a good time up front there, and I like the way he keeps the ears up and he plays with it and he's talking to his sheep there. They're friends. They're partners. You can tell that. Does a great job with eye contact, getting out on the go there. Here from the side, again, we can get a little more brace. We can get legs just a little square, but, man, that's being picky. I think that young man's very, very good. And he's having a good time. He's enjoying it out here, and that's what it's about to me. The young lady here at the Blue Sheep, I thought of the group there, you were probably the most consistent in a lot of the things you did there. You got a good brace. You work the top line. You get the feet where they need to be. Young lady, I think going forward here as you go back for next year at some shows, we can work on getting that U just a little straighter here from the profile. You maybe have her butt turned just a little bit there to the fence line. We could straighten her out just a little bit there. But again, I think you get a good brace. Your eye contact's good. You get out on the move as good as any of them here in the grouping of them. You have a hard sheep to show, young lady. You have the hardest sheep to show so far that's hit this ring this morning. That is a big sheep once again and a little lady, and she does a great job. I like your eye contact. Again, brace, handle, and everything, and you stick with it. She is a hoss, and she wants to run her around and doesn't want to just stand still for her the best, but she worked with it, and she still does an excellent job for my liking. I think she fits in the mix really good here in this grouping of them. That is a fidgety big sheep that runs her over, yet she squares up and does a good job there on the front end. Young lady right here, you let that sheep get out and go and really run there on motion. Here from the side, we maybe could take that neck and that head and put it a little bit further back there, and I think your sheep would blend together really nicely, and maybe we could hold just a little closer to the head of the halter when you get out and go with her. I like the speed you move with. You really get out and travel with her. We can maybe have a little more control there over the halter and her head, but again, I think you do a whale of a job here. So around ringside, I know one of these individuals is going to be really happy. 3 are not going to be here in just a second, and that is perfectly fine because I think they're all very good, and it is really tough here to have to place them here all 1 through 4 because I think they're all very good yet challenging in the way they do things. If you would here, what we'll do, we'll just go shake their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you would, give them a nice big round of applause here, and we'll get them to pick for you.
At this time in the makeup area, we need animals in our novice class 1, novice market lambs, class number 1. These are lambs weighing between 60 and 83 pounds. You need to report to the makeup area. Placing on the class of 5-year-olds for novice showmanship. First place, go and congratulations to Juniper Jade Lane. Second place to Roy Parker. Third, Hatton Smith. and 4, Giovanna Jackson. In the ring, we now have novice market lambs, class number 1. These lambs weigh 60 to 83 pounds. In the makeup area, we need class number 2. Our novice market lambs weighing between 90 and 105 pounds. Class 2 novice market lambs to the makeup area.
Well, good class to start out your novice show. And as you'd expect, any class 1, we have a lot of different types and kinds represented. I do think the young man there with the glasses up front comes back, and they're still good friends. To me, that sheep is very, very nice, and how we'll try to mold them here as we move through your novice show. Very, very good in her skeleton. I like her athleticism, her feet and her leg structure. Still has a good shape when you work down her top line. Again, maybe not perfect there at the floor of her chest. Could transition a little better in her loin edge, but she's flexible. She gets out and goes. She's built right from the profile. Again, fresh when you get up on top of her. 2, 3, 4, I think offers a lot of debate. And again, I know my wife's watching online, and she's probably going to tell me I messed them up. But again, you get on top of them here, and to me, the red ewe that lands here in second is just really genuine all the way through. Her body type's correct here as far as her flank line from the profile. Very fresh still when you get up on top of her. Clearly not as big and stout when you work out of her hip as our class winner. But in relation to 3 and 4, I thought she was just a little bit better there in her frame size and her general body type than the ewe coming in third. A little fresher in the way she's presented than 4. I really like her outline and her silhouette. Again, just not as stout when you get in behind her as our class winner. I think 3 and 4, again, you can flip and flop them if you'd like. The black Suffolk appearing ewe that lands here in 3, I thought, again, compositionally was a little leaner and more expressive when I got up on top of her. A really level-made, long stature type of a female. Young lady, I get right in behind her. Not as powerful, again, as our class winner. I didn't read her just as good as far as her moderation and balance, maybe, as our second place ewe. I like her touch. I like her shape. A little flat, a little peaking all the way through. The dappled up ewe here is the one that gave me just a little fits, because I thought you could run her up in a second if you just want to talk about a productive female. Good in her body, very maternal in the way her flank line's laid into her. I got up on top of her and I read her just a little flat, right on the backside of her shoulder. Not as bold and dimensional as I worked right in behind her, but a good useful type of a female as far as her structure. A good embodied female, just a little soft, a little spongy when I got up on top of her. Good class 4 of them, 4 good young people here. Give them a good round of applause. Hand around ringside if you would.
Placings for our Class 1 market lambs for the novice show. First place goes to Roy Parker, Pleasureville, Kentucky, an animal weighing 83 pounds. Second place to Antonio Geyer, Allensville, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 60 pounds. Third, Lavender Hahn, Lancaster, Kentucky, that lamb weighing 73. And fourth, Holly Jones of Elkton, Kentucky, that lamb weighing 81 pounds. In the ring now, we have class number 2. These lambs weigh between 90 and 105 pounds. In the makeup area, we need class number 3, 107 to 115 pound lambs. Again, we want to remind our novice exhibitors and their families that we will be having a class for champion and reserve champion novice market lamb. So those first and second place animals do need to hang around close, and those exhibitors, whenever we finish with class 7, we will be calling for you.
Well, Class 2 brings us a nice group of 4 of them here, and as my job as a judging coach now, I spend more time than I'd like working through livestock in groups of 4 of them here, but I think this would make just a tremendous class if you're a young person that likes judging around ringside. All 4 of these have differences. They all 4 have quality. Unfortunately here for the other 3, they were always chasing this little guy up front, and I know we saw some nice ones in showmanship. I'm sure there'll be some good ones here to hit us in a bit. You better bring a steamer to roll this thing here in just a little while. Symmetry, outline, balance from the profile, spot on and second to none. Big legs that know how to boogie when we ask him to go. Still very fresh, and the way he proportions up there from the profile, I won't tell you he's going to be the biggest butted or just the roundest body one that's going to hit the ring so far today. For his size, for his frame, for his weight, he's progressive in the way his muscularity is laid onto him. Again, when you get him out on the go, that is poetry. That is athleticism. That is, again, how I like sheep built. From the side, that's how I like sheep built on the go. He needs a bit more punch, and that might be his problem here at the end of the day, but he's going to be in the mix because I like that sheep very, very well. The sheep here in second, the ewe lamb, 2 and 3 are just a little different in the way they're altered there from the profile. I thought when you get right in behind them and just study basics of livestock, the ewe lamb needs to be second here in the group. She is very fundamental, wide in her skeleton, round in her body shape. She is more powerful and rounder bodied and bigger ribbed than the sheep we start with. I really like her when I work right in behind her. But in relation to our class winner, a little soft in the texture of her muscle when I get down her back line, a little deeper through her shoulder, not as neat there from the profile. Very fundamental, very useful type of a sheep. I think a guy can make a living with 100 built like her. Not as out there, not as flashy, not as wild. There's our class winner, just a little plainer here from the profile. We have a different story here, and the young man here with the weather in 3, I like his build and his symmetry as much as any of them in the grouping. Really late in his maturity curve. He looks like he's going to reach a big heavy weight, yet still have some production to him. I like his height, the front end, really level in the way his back line's made here. A long-bodied, long-spine sheep. Gets out, covers some ground here on the green chips. I get right in behind him. Not enough punch, not enough butt cheek here to the party. Just a little flatter in his hip, a little flatter in his muscle, and that was the big decision. I get right here between 2 and 3, and I think we need to sort the pair the way we do. Young man, I told you earlier, you're a really good showman there on the front end of this blue sheep. I do a great job here from the profile. Another one with some growth, some extension to him. Productive type of a sheep that's good there in his flank line and his body type. I get up on top of him, sweetie, just a little flat in the way his muscles made, a little little bit soft there in his handle. He needs to be just a little stouter in his bone work because he's really tall. And the way he's built from the profile, you make him that tall and that extended, we need to stouten him up there in their foot size to allow him to balance out there from the profile. That's a great class of 4 of them. We'll take some time and talk through them here because I think the kids are deserving of them. Good class 4. Excellent class winner. If you would, give him a good hand here.
Results from class number 2 are novice market lambs weighing between 90 and 105 pounds. First, and congratulations to Emma Mulliken of Maysville, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 105. Second place to Graham King, Glencoe, Kentucky, that lamb weighing 100. Third place, Jacob Jackson, Selviza, Kentucky. And 4 to Sophia Clark, Lancaster, Kentucky. In the ring, we have class number 3. These are 107 to 115 pound lambs. In the makeup area, we need class number 4. Class 4 for our novice market lambs. Lambs weighing between 119 and 123 to the makeup area now, please.
Another very nice class as we work all the way down the line. And I think these 3 split themselves here to the front line, and there's a lot of differences in the way they're built. Hopefully, again, after yesterday and here as we started 2 classes in, I like them athletic, and I like them to be able to get out and go and have some style and profile here from the build standpoint. And I think the blue sheep, to me, he represents a very, very good kind. He's got up and out there through his front end. He's big and stout. When you work down low, he gets out and goes, and to me, that's his favorite view. He really is athletic. He's proud and cocky in the way he gets out and travels. Still good and aggressive down his back line, plenty of shape and plenty of dimension when you get in behind him. Like our last class winner, he needs to be busted open there in his cage just a little bit when you get up on top of him. A little hollow in the way he presents himself and just a little taller maybe frame size wise. But again, he's not as powerful. When you work right in behind him as 2 and 3, his build, his athleticism, to me, that sheep continues to get better. The longer we push on him, he is still very green and very raw there down his back line. I love his feet and leg structure as much as anything we've had hit the ring so far. The ewe here in second is just a big, useful type of a sheep. She is bold in her cage. She is opened up and dimensional when you get right in behind her. She has more power than the sheep we start with, and I'll be the first to tell you that. Opened up, big back, big ended when you work right in behind her. She's a little plainer from the profile for my liking there through her shoulder and her chest floor. We get her out on the go. She'll weaken in her loin. She'll kind of kick up there in her hip. She's got a little extra set to her hind leg. Just hits me a little plainer and a little staler from the outside looking in. Good, useful type of a sheep with a lot of value. There's no doubt about it. I thought the blue weather pushed the envelope just a little harder here from the profile. But you got a really nice one as well. And handle-wise, he is as big and squared up right out of the backside of his blade as any of them. I love his loin edge and just his power there over the middle of his spine and out to his hip. Of the three, when we travel the sheep, he'll drop in his chest, he'll round in his shoulder. He's a little rounder in his hip and his hind leg as well. I read him just a little deep up there through the front third of his body. I certainly love his top shape. He's really squared up as you work to his loin edge. Not as just neat as far as just width and power there as the sheep in second. Not as wild looking as our sheep that wins. By default there, he lands in the third. Just a little rounder built. Love his muscle and the way he's presented up high. This one's really aggressive too. Whatever you've done, young lady, skin, hydration, and just touch and tone is as good as any sheep here in the class. Very fresh, very expressive in her muscularity. She's a little tight from her chest to her flank. She too will get just a little rounder in her hip and straighter in her hock as we ask the sheep to travel. I do love the top shape. She is very meaty, very square. The backside of her blade. Wide set when you're working behind her. Just a little plainer in her underline, in her hip and her hind leg. Like we said a few times here today, I think a guy could have a flock of 100, 150 brood ewes that look like this ewe here in 5, make a good living. Sound, flexible in the way she's built. Good in her just flank line. Very maternal, very broody. In this setting, I read her just a little soft, a little spongy when I got up on top of her. A little rounder shouldered, a little plainer from the profile. Just a good moderate, solid, boxy type of a female. I love down sheep, and I was a little bummed I didn't get to do the downers yesterday because I love South Down sheep. I love what they represent. And he, too, is a very long-bodied, level-spined sheep with some athleticism to his hip and his hind leg. Unfortunately, he got into deep waters, and he's just a little flat in his shape. He's a little plain in his touch. I need to open that guy up through and through. I like his utility. He's good-footed. He's sound-made. Didn't bring enough punch here to the Kentucky State Fair, but that is a good class all the way down the line. I think that trio is exceptional. Really like the blue sheep that leads out. If you would, pay him off with a nice hand here as they exit.
Placing on class number 3, novice market lambs. Lambs weighing between 107 and 115. First place goes to Loxley McIntosh, Winchester, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 107 pounds. Second place, Lucy Davis, Mount Sterling, Kentucky, that lamb weighing 115. Third, Everett Spears, Scottsville, Kentucky. 4, Giovanna Jackson, Salviza, Kentucky. 5, Cheyenne Royce, Paris, Kentucky. And 6th place, Case Fleming, Winchester, Kentucky. In the ring, we have contestants with their lambs for class number 4. These are lambs weighing between 119 and 123. In the makeup area, we need lambs in class number 5. Class 5, 127 to 134 pounds to the makeup area now.
You know, I've said it a few times, but an excellent class all the way down the line. I thought this group was really, really deep and had some challenge. For me, it was a challenge between 2 and 3 of what I wanted to do there with the white ewe. We saw this one just a little bit ago. Young lady here won a group in showmanship. I like this sheep. And, you know, she's not perfectly my speed there in her structure and her balance from the profile. I don't like talking negatives first. As I told you yesterday, you get up on top and you study stock from the 3/4 view. That is as gnarly of a back, as round of a cage as I've witnessed here in just a good while. She is grooved up and shaped up down her back line, packing some serious heat. When you work right in behind her, get off to a distance, you study her from a balance standpoint. Again, she's a little rounder shouldered. She'll deviate there in her spine. She's a little rounder in her hip, but everything still fits together. And to me, balance is the way they need to here from the profile. Good in her underline, big and creased up when you get down her top side. That is a nice sheep. Standing still, she fits the mold of what we need. We could free her up just a little bit there on the go. Excellent hand, excellent sheep. Congratulations to her. As I said, 2 and 3 offers a load of debate for myself. I am a white sheep enthusiast here. I like them. I think they're very, very good. I prefer the build and the skeleton of the white ewe that lands here in 2. She's better in the angle of her hip and her hind leg, her neck ties, and her shoulder shapes. Just a little bit better in the ewe here in 2. She needs to be just a little fresher down her top side. Again, she's a white sheep in a sea of blacks, and she maybe just runs out of fresh, aggressive shape. When I get up on top of her, good flank, very maternal, super smooth and level in the way she presents herself in motion. Didn't read her just as aggressive, again, as the black sheep that starts, just a little plainer through her chest and her shoulder in relation to our winner. I like the freshness. I like the tone and the texture here of the ewe here in 3rd. She squares up really good up high, better in her high quality, but at the base of her neck and just right there down the top side of her skeleton. Still enough width, enough dimension here from the profile. I study those 2 sheep in motion for myself. She'll get a little rounder in her hip and her hind leg. Her neck will drop to the center portion of her chest and her shoulder. I didn't read her just as tidy in the way she was built in motion as the 2 sheep in front. I do love the rib cage. I like the shape when I get up on top of her. You want to flip 2 and 3 here. I won't thumb wrestle you. They're good sheep, 2 good showmen. I thought the build and the balance there, the white ewe needed to be second. This is another one that's very useful, long and level in the way she's built. I thought she was smoother maybe than the sheep that comes right in behind. Long body, level made, yet still has some dimension to her. Gets a little plainer in her shape when I get up on top of her. A little smaller bone for how much power she has up high, and just a little stale in the way she's built from the profile. Good 4 of them there to lead out. This sheep has more fresh shape, and I get up on top of him, and I thought there was some discussion between those 2. Good in the way he squares up there the backside of his scapula. Good shape, good expression. A little dry flanked, a little off in his loin. I thought he was just a little round built as we asked the sheep to travel. That's a good class all the way through. Little young lady did an excellent job there on the front end. Give him a nice hand here. Good group all the way through.
Results from class number 4 of our novice market lambs. These lambs weighing between 119 and 123. First, congratulations to Morgan Lawson, Maysville, Kentucky. That lamb weighing 121. Second place, Sadie Gravitt, Frankfort, Kentucky. A lamb weighing 121. Third, Nellie Parker, Pleasureville, Kentucky. 4, Danilyn Kane, Lancaster, Kentucky. And 5 to James Cash Jackson, Salviza, Kentucky. In the makeup area at this time, we need lambs in class number 6. Class 6 of our novice market lambs. Those lambs weighing between 138 and 145 pounds. Class 6 novice market lambs to the makeup area now, please.
Well, fantastic pair here on the front end, and two sheep that are awfully different. Two good showmen. They get the heck out of them, and they really, really get to work here from the profile. They get them put together the way they need to. Again, I get right into the stock, and I like livestock that are built right and have some style from the profile. Ideally for me, I'd put these two together. I think they both have components that can win the class. There's an area or two I'd like to alter them as we get into them. For me, I get right here into the money shot, the 3/4 view, and the body shape, the width progression, and the pin settings. Just a little nicer in the white U. Hits me very broody, yet maternal here from the profile. Everything balances and fits together from her neck there to her shoulder, the way it blends down her top out to her hip. She's not as long-necked as clean at the base of her neck, and as long-spined and bodied there as the blue U in second. But again, you study stock that are fundamentally wide, stout, round in their cage, yet opened up. To me, she looks like this is a good maternal type of a breeding ewe. A little thick right at the base of her neck, and just a little mature there through her shoulder and her front end. We could clean her up. We can make her more ladylike right there at the point of her blade. She's a little vertical in her hock. But again, everything fits together. She'll get out and go. She'll cover some ground. Love the balance and the way it fits together. Her cage quality is as good as we've had so far here. Told you, young lady, earlier, you are a hand on the front end of a sheep, and you get everything out of her. A long-necked, long-bodied sheep that's very level in the way she presents herself. I do like her neck shape. I do like her shoulder and her chest floor just a little bit better than our eventual class winner. Young lady, again, I get right in behind the sheep. I study them from the 3/4 view. She's, for her size and her extra length and height, she's just a little flat. And the way she transitions out of the backside of her shoulder, she's a little wider in her belly than she is her forerib and her hip. I wish I could just open her up through and through, a little staler in her texture. I do like her length. She gets out. She's very flexible. Little soft pastern, little flat rib could be opened up when I get in behind her in relation to our winner. That's a good pair of them. Again, mesh them together, put them together, and you have a smoke show. Easy class winner. I thought both of them were good. The white U's just a little more fundamental in my eyes. Buddy, this sheep doesn't look like he's had the best last few months there. Maybe trying to fix the prolapse on him just a little bit there, and that's maybe melted down just a little bit of his shape, but that's a good sheep. You talk about livestock, again, that are fundamental. They're wide in their rib. They're stout when you get in behind him. He's opened up. He has enough feature, enough product when you get up on top of him. A little plainer from the profile in relation to the second place sheep. Not as opened up, not as fresh in his shape as a sheep that starts, but a good fundamental, nice balanced sheep. Runs out of shape, needs to be softer in his flank line there from the profile. The blue sheep has that, and I actually like the way elevation up through the front end of this sheep a little bit nicer. She is flat back, very level in the way she presents herself. Like the blue sheep that stood second, I get right in behind the stock. I wish I could open her up through her pins, give her a bit more stifle shape and inner twist there from behind. Not as powerful as the sheep directly in front, but I liked her build a little bit better and coming in behind. Another one that's got some height, some growth, and some extension to him. He's very level down his top line, still flexible enough in the way he'll take to the ring here in the surface. He's just a little soft. When I get up on top of him, sweetie, a little plainer through his shoulder and his chest floor. Just a nice, useful type of a sheep as well. I thought both these sheep are a little leaner compositionally and a little fresher maybe than the sheep in front. Very aggressive in the shape here. She's starting to brood up and playing out there through her dock line and her upper hip. She'll get a little rounder in her build as we ask her to go there in motion. I liked her top line balance and her neck set a little bit better than the sheep in behind. This sheep as well has some power, has some bone and some dimension to her. Very broody there from the profile. Young lady, we get here from the side, from the profile from a distance. I have the most qualms with maybe her spine and her structure. She's just a little rounder built off either end of her skeleton. Big-footed, big bone with enough power up high. I want to redesign her spine there as we travel the sheep. So once again, great class there. My compliments to all those people. It's been a good group here as we move through your novice show.
Placing on class number 5, novice market lambs weighing between 127 and 134. First place, and congratulations, Cade McGowan, Danville, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 132. Second place, Callie Florence, Falmouth, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 134. Third, Callahan Tate, Hardensburg, Kentucky. 4, Charles C. Parker, Pleasureville, Kentucky. 5, Aaron Smallwood, Frenchburg, Kentucky. 6, Hatton Smith, Winchester, Kentucky. And 7, Heartland Smith, Winchester, Kentucky. Now entering the ring is class number 6, our novice market lambs weighing between 138 and 145. We need in the makeup area lambs in class number 7. Class 7, our final class of market lambs, those weighing between 147 and 183. Final call for lambs in class number 7. Novice market lambs, final class, Rowan Allen. You need to be in the makeup area now, please.
Just 5 of them here, but a good class as deep of a group. I thought there was some challenge. Just again, we sprinkle in some white sheep here, a couple ewe lambs versus wethers, things like that. And they're a little different in the way their muscle and their texture will lay onto them. Ideally, again, we put some parts and pieces on either our first and our second place sheep together. The one that captivates me a little harder here when we're studying the stock on the go or from the profile is the young lady sheep up front. I like the way she blends together from her shoulder and her forearm, her top line, and the way it blends to her loin and her upper hip, a little nicer than the ewe in behind. Very flexible, very athletic. When we ask her to go there, she's not maybe just as wide and as opened up in her pins and her body shape maybe as the sheep that we have right in behind her. A little plainer in her texture down her back line, but again, a maternal female that's athletic. She's built right for me as we study them in motion. Very good in the way she balances up here. Good tan there on the front end as well. Little young lady does a good job there. I love the power and just the brood ewe potential, the ewe that lands here in 2. And that's why, again, if you tell me she's more fundamental and you want to start with her, I have no arguments there. She is really good in her cage. She's very maternal in her flank line, very moderate, yet still not round and just quick in her maturity curve. Love the width and span that she has when you get right in behind her. She is more powerful, and we'll say it, and I'm not afraid to say it, than our class winner, opened up big and burly from behind. From the profile, a little rounder in her shoulder, a little deeper in her chest. We're getting to that weight and that maturity where she's just a little staler in the way her muscles textured on the top side of her skeleton, but a good pair of them, no doubt about it. I think both of them have use for any flock, any operation. Young lady, I told you in showmanship earlier, you do a great job sticking with the tough sheep to show. That is a big sheep. She's a little too tall for me as far as her frame size goes. I think as you start projecting her down the road and from a breeding perspective, we need to amp her up and maybe take her to a buck that's a little more moderate, a little lower to the ground. A large frame female with some stature to her, long in her body, level in her rump structure. She can cover some ground when she gets out and goes, and I like her flexibility. A little dry flanked, a little too long bodied for me for her cage to open up and just fit her frame size. I do like that sheep structure. I like her elevation as much as anything we've had hit the ring. Just a little dry flanked, a little gangly for lack of better words here today. I love when I get on top of this sheep here, this white influence sheep. He's a little weird as far as just his front end assembly and the way his neck will tie onto his shoulder, but he spans really good to his loin edge. He's wide and square in his loin, big in his rib, and has enough muscularity. A little smaller boned, a little rounder shouldered. Again, maybe just not as fresh as the 3 sheep directly in front. Just a really, really good use useful type of a sheep with enough product. You know, I wanted to call this thing a speckle white-faced cross when he came in, but I live in Texas now. He looks like he's got a little fine wool and like a fine wool cross to him there through his wool pattern and his head color. He is a long-bodied, up-headed type of a sheep. I like his movement, his structure, just a little bit better in the sheep directly in front. Again, these white sheep, these fine wool cross, speckle sheep, whatever you want to call them, get right in behind him, just a little softer in his muscle, not as opened up. When I get in behind him, you show off his front end, you show off his athleticism as good as any of them. I wish he had a bit more product, a bit more power. Good way to round out a nice class 5 of them like you've done here this morning. You've been better than yesterday. Give him a nice round of applause. Good hand here.
Placings on class number 6 of our Novice Market Lamb Show. First place, congratulations, goes to Hayden Turner of Falmouth, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 140. Second place to Oakley Johnson Mullins, Paris, Kentucky, that lamb weighing 145. Third, Juniper Jade Lane, West Liberty, Kentucky. 4, Jesslyn Conrad, Butler, Kentucky. And 5 to Ilana Green, Lexington, Kentucky. Entering the ring now is our final class of market lambs. This is class number 7. These lambs weigh between 147 and 166. Just a reminder, first and second place animals from classes 1 through 6, you need to be at the makeup area now. First and second place animals from classes 1 through 6 to the makeup area now, please.
Nice way to bring us to the end here, and I think we're going to have a really good drive here in just a bit, and I'm going to be very excited to see how they stack up. This is a good pair, and, you know, again, I'm not here to tell you it has to go one way or another because I do think you can switch. You can flop upon them if you'd like. The sheep that leads out to me is the one that grabbed me in just a little bit more as far as his body shape, his progressions when you get in behind him. For a bigger, heavier weight sheep, he's still better as far as his freshness, his tone, and his texture when you get up on top of him. He needs to be better in his shoulder. He needs to be better in his neck set and the way his hips design in motion. But to me, everything still fits together. He balances. He appears like a stout, burly market lamb that still balances up very nicely. Again, when we get here to the drive in just a second, we got to make a call on his front end assembly, his maturity. Is his hip just good enough when you get up on top of him? The sheep that lands here in 2 is a little neater there in that regard, up through his neck and his shoulder. For me, just too flat and just a little too plain as I get up on top of him. That's a long-bodied sheep, but still a little deeper and longer there in his shoulder blade, a little plainer in his texture down his back. back line. They pair up very nice, and they're just a little different. I thought the sheep that led out's just a bit more genuine when you get on top of them. The sheep in third actually rivals them in that regard. He is big and wolfy when you work in down right in behind him, big and stout up high, a little rounder built in motion, a little plainer there from the profile. I do love his muscle when I get up on top of him. The cap sheep here is very, very smooth, good body, and very productive. Has the right type of grow, the right type of extension. He'll funnel, he'll round, just a little too much for me as I work to his hip and his stifle, but he rounds out a good class of heavyweights there. Give him a nice round of applause here. We'll work through your drive in just a second.
Results from class number 7 of Novice Market Lambs. First place, and congratulations to Clark Caldwell, Butler, Kentucky, lamb weighing 148. Second place to Alexa Beecraft, Morning View, Kentucky, lamb weighing 152. Third to Ronan Allen, Georgetown, Kentucky, and 4 to Zeta Kirkpatrick, Lancaster, Kentucky. Again, our judge today for our novice show has been Connor Brew from Lubbock, Texas. Connor is the livestock judging coach at South Plains College in Levelland, Texas. He became involved showing at the state and national level, as well as raising show lambs with his wife and her family. Connor enjoys working with youth nationwide and getting to travel. Again, let's thank Connor Brew for his work with our novice showman this morning.
Okay, around fence line, ringside here. We've done a great job here so far today, even better than yesterday, as we said. If you guys would, pay these young people off. A good round of applause here as we get started in your champion drive. As I told you, I like the novice deal. I think it's really, really cool, and I was glad I got to sort it, and Nate and I were talking about it last night. Again, get them in the ring, get a little more experience here before time comes here in another year or two. And I think these young people, as we work through showmanship and here through the show, have been just as impressive for myself as what the older kids were as we worked through them yesterday. You guys have a really good group of young people here in the state of Kentucky. I'm not just telling you that because I know you want to hear it. I'm telling it because it's truth, and I really, really do think in the next few years you guys are going to have a good type of a show here to work through. These young people are in good hands, and you guys clearly put a little time, a little money, a little effort into these novice shows, and I appreciate that. There are some sheep that are fit up and they're shagged up, and I don't know if they get to show in the actual show later today. I don't think so. But again, you put the time, the effort, the preparation into these things when you came here, and I certainly appreciate that. I still got a few hours till my flight, so I'm going to talk about some sheep here for just a second because I like talking good stock. Young man that wins Class 1, good built sheep. Maybe doesn't have enough power here in relation to a few. Same with some of the seconds that are down the back line. I like this blue sheep's athleticism as we get him out on the go. He's a little rounder build. He's a little tighter flank. He's still a little green, a little raw today. I like this ewe lamb. She is very useful, a broody type of a sheep. Round in her cage, big in her engine. When you get in behind her, a little rounder shouldered, a little plainer fronted. I didn't think her hip and her hind leg was in the same league as a few others. I like this ewe lamb standing still. She's very, very nice, and she's still athletic as you ask her to go as well. She'll round in her shoulder. She'll drop in her chest. She's not just as powerful when you get up on top of her as a few others on either side of her, but I thought she was a very, very good type of a female from an elegance standpoint. Has the right type of stature, the right type of grow. Again, not going to talk all the seconds there. I like to ramble, and you guys know that after yesterday, but there are 3 sheep to me that are in the hunt, and they're in the fight here, so we're going to talk about them and break them down here for you. Class 2 winner, he's small, but he's mighty out here in the drive. He needs, we talked in class, the call you have to make on him. Did he bring enough horsepower, enough engine here to the green chips? And I still think that's the call you're going to have to make. If you want to use him here in this lineup, he does need to be opened up, just a scotch. When you work right in behind him, you get off to a distance and you drop back from a backdrop standpoint. You study livestock that are fundamentally correct in their structure, fundamentally correct in their build and their balance from the profile. I don't know that you make him any better here in the way he presents himself. That is a flexible hind leg that's not only big and stout. I don't care how much leg hair there is. It goes, it travels, it boogies when she gets him on the halter. Everything fits together. Although he's a little smaller here in the lineup, I think from his nose there to his tail all the way to the ground, everything fits. It's symmetrical. It balances super well. He's still fresh and honest when you get up on top of him. He is not as gnarly. He is not as creasy backed as this ewe lamb. He is not as just ready to rumble maybe as the sheep there out of the last class. But I'm telling you guys, hopefully you can follow me here as the last 2 days. I love stock that are built right from the profile. I love stock that can get out and go and travel and cover some ground there. That is a perfect type of a balance. His feet and leg structure suits me really, really well. He needs more punch. He needs more cheek. When you get in behind him, I'll be the first to tell you that. No questions asked. The ewe here that wins, the little young lady in the pink, we talked. Again, we can fix that sheep in that area just as far as back shape and power when you get in behind him. She has that. That is a big creasy back laid into her. If you're sitting along the fence line or in the bleachers there, if you give a good tap of the bleacher, that's what her forerib, right? The backside of her shoulder feels like. Hard muscled, creased up, and very, very shapely when you work down her top side. I like her power out of her pins. I like her power to her stifle. Again, I call on her. Like we talked about, we need power here in Class 2. I need to redesign her structure just a little bit for my liking from the outside looking in. She's a little rougher shouldered. She'll deviate there in her top line. We travel the sheep. We study them on the go. She'll round in her shoulder, and she's just a little coarser for me in the way she's built there as we study the stock just loose and out on the run. Again, you get her propped up here, and we got her flank line fit into her. Very, very nice. I probably don't need the belly wool. I think she's very good flanked already. Very good shape, very creasy, very fresh. Still has the right type of extension here from the profile. My call on her is what do I deem ideal as far as her build and her skeleton off either end. She's just a little rounder for my liking. The little buddy that wins last class there, that's a very good sheep. And clearly of the 3 that we're discussing, he is ready to rumble. He is maxed out and shaped up there down his top side. Big ribbed, opened up. If you want to tell me he's just the most productive sheep here in the lineup that we just discussed, again, no arguments here. He is wide backed. He's square when you get in behind him. Like the sheep we just discussed, we study him on the go, and to me, the maturity is maybe starting to show through just a little bit through his shoulder, his hip, and right out of his dock edge. He's a little thicker necked, he's a little rounder shouldered and deeper sternum. For as big as he is up high, when I get up on top of him and study his top side, you watch that sheep travel directly away from you. He'll funnel from his hip, he'll funnel to the ground. I don't read him just as genuine underneath as maybe a few we just discussed. But again, he's big, he's ready to rumble, he's powerful, he's shaped up. If you want to roll with him here, again, I won't argue with you. I have no problems with it. For me, he's a little rounder build. He's a little plainer there from the profile. So I think all of these sheep, all 3 of these sheep are very, very good. And again, I'm not going to argue with you. We're at the Novice show here at the State Fair. If you like a different one, Again, that's what this game's about. There's no doubt about it. There's one to me that hopefully, again, we leave here, you follow me. I like them built right, and they got to be able to boogie. They got to be able to go. They don't have to have the most heat, the most horsepower when you get in behind them. Gets really close for me between a pair of them for reserve. One last time, it's been a lot of fun here the last 2 days. Thank you guys for having me, show staff. I've enjoyed working with your young people. It's been great. Give them a good hand here. We'll get you a champion in reserve.
Champion Novice Market Lamb goes to our Class 2 winner, Emma Mulligan, Maysville, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 105. Reserve champion came out of class number 4, Morgan Lawson, Maysville, Kentucky, a lamb weighing 121.